Here's a paraphrased version of the story. The oppressive quiet at Kingsley's, New York City's most prestigious dining establishment, felt stifling. Young Lucas Montgomery, age 10, his legs confined in metal supports, extended his hand toward Diana Johnson, the establishment's sole African-American server, just as the pianist began to play. "Sir, manage your child," Manager Thornton barked sharply. "This establishment is not a ballroom." Billionaire Richard Montgomery, who owned Montgomery Investments, commanded, "Lucas, return to your seat." This marked their first meal in public since the incident that had left Lucas unable to walk 2 years prior. Diana took off her work apron. "Dancing in an apron isn't possible," she said with a smile, grasping Lucas's outstretched hand. "What do you believe you're doing?" Richard rose suddenly from his chair. "I'm responding to a request, sir." Lucas made a tentative step forward, his metal supports making a grinding sound. Diana matched her movement to his pace. Richard recalled his deceased wife Elizabeth moving with Lucas. Perfection isn't the goal. Connection is what matters. This was the first instance since the incident where Lucas took charge. "She'll face appropriate consequences," the manager promised Richard. Following 3 movements together, Diana expressed her gratitude to Lucas in a formal manner. When she began to walk away, Richard interrupted her departure. "Come to my office tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. The following day, Diana presented herself at Montgomery Tower. Miss Winters guided her down glass-lined corridors to Richard's workspace. "What are your qualifications?" Richard inquired. "I hold a bachelor's in child development from NYU. My master's in special education remains unfinished." Richard pulled out a file. "Freedom Steps. You established this organization 6 years ago. It's a movement program for physically disabled children, currently facing closure because of insufficient financial support. I didn't appear here to request funding from you, Mr. Montgomery. I'm offering you a position as Lucas's therapeutic companion. Your compensation would be 5 times your current earnings." Diana got to her feet. "That's not acceptable. I refuse to work for individuals who judge me by my race before evaluating my abilities. And I certainly won't work for those who attempt to purchase answers to problems of the heart." She left her business card on his desk. "Freedom Steps meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Should you wish to bring Lucas along, there's no charge for the initial session." The next Wednesday, a luxury vehicle pulled up to the community facility. Lucas and Richard walked into the converted warehouse where young people using assistive devices moved freely. "This appears disorganized," Richard observed. "Order exists here. You simply don't recognize its form," Diana answered. Dr. Elaine Mercer, formerly of Harvard's neuroscience department, came forward. "Mr. Montgomery, you've turned down my research funding application on 3 separate occasions. Freedom Steps serves as an experimental motor recovery program grounded in movement autonomy principles. You were aware of my identity at the restaurant," Richard realized, "since you entered. And when Lucas stood to dance, I saw the chance to demonstrate rather than explain." Members of the press walked in. "Our initial findings were released today," Dr. Mercer stated. "This was all planned by you," Richard said quietly. Without warning, Lucas unfastened one support and completed a full step with minimal assistance. Cameras flashed repeatedly. "That's the purpose behind Freedom Steps," Diana explained. "Perfect movement isn't the objective. Independent first movements are what count." A journalist came closer. "Mr. Montgomery, can you confirm your foundation denied this program funding on 3 occasions?" Richard's expression softened. "You know what's most difficult for someone in my circumstances? Acknowledging when we've made mistakes. The Montgomery Foundation will provide complete financial backing for Freedom Steps over the next 5 years and construct a dedicated rehabilitation facility, with one requirement: that Ms. Johnson maintains full control over program operations." Construction started 3 months afterward. 6 months following that, during the inaugural event, Lucas, now wearing just a minimal support device, performed a planned movement sequence. "I'm grateful," Richard told Diana, for showing me how to follow someone else's lead." A journalist inquired, "What has been your most significant discovery?" That authentic leadership doesn't belong to those who direct others along the route they think is correct, but to those who possess the bravery to follow when another person reveals a superior path. 12 months later, Freedom Steps operated in 3 metropolitan areas. Diana was honored with the Pediatric Rehabilitation Innovation Recognition. Lucas joined mainstream education and took on a role as a youth advocate. Richard discovered that genuine influence doesn't come from dictating every action, but from recognizing the right moment to withdraw and allow others to take the lead.